but not yet, but almost. Oh,
Oh,
but now. Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
You're beautiful.
Oh, yeah. Thanks. How come I'm more tan than you and you're down south?
My lighting is crazy. I don't know what's going on with my lighting. Um, but guess what time it is? Time for the right stuff.
A half inch means a lot sometimes.
This pumpkin latte sucked, and I want to speak to your manager.
How much is the economy today? It's that much.
Objection, hearsay. Objection, leading. Objection, hearsay.
Where is that woman when Biden speaks?
Well, there you go. I started the show
Because I told you.
because you reminded me. Hello, Professor. Good to see you.
Hello?
That's it. That's it.
My ones of ones, thanks.
We're the Benjamin Buttons of success. So good to see you, my darling girl. And I can see you without glasses.
I love it.
Do you? I don't know if I like it or not. My glasses broke because Walmart has cheap, ridiculous glasses. And what cheap? You pay as much money as anywhere else for them, but the coating they put on wears off within a year, and I couldn't see through them. And so I went to a real glasses place. Usually I go to Sam Pirazzolla.
That's what it's called. Real glasses place.
It's called the Real Glasses Place. Usually I go to Sam Pirazzolla, who's now an assemblyman, but
Why are you name dropping? You want me to get the broom?
no, but he's in Queens and I was here, my glasses broke, so I went to Walmart. Don't go to Walmart. It's just terrible. So anyway, hopefully I will have my glasses back next week. But I think I might keep the contacts. It's amazing.
I like them.
Okay, well, I'm not used to myself without glasses. Hello, Cynthia. Long time no see. I just had a wonderful lunch with Cynthia and her daughter-in-law. Cynthia is my neighbor, and she's an artist, and she's a brilliant woman, a wonderful person. We had such a great conversation. It was really, really lovely. So, what'd you do, Jen?
Sorry. Work. Work! What do you think I did? Work! I went to the Hamptons over the weekend, saw Mark Normand, who was fantastic. Very, very dark and off-color. It was amazing. The whole place was going crazy. It was packed. There was a few hundred people there at the clubhouse.
At the clubhouse in the Hamptons.
And he remembered me. I haven't seen him in 12 years. I went up to him to say hello. He's like, Jen from Caroline's.
Well,
We used to work together when we were both nobodies, and now I'm just a nobody. So
who could forget you? And here is my other date for lunch, Rafaela, and that's Cynthia's daughter-in-law. It was great getting to know you, Rafaela. She's headed back to Massachusetts, right? Yeah, Massachusetts tomorrow. So, we got Peter.
how did you do it? Did you buy them lunch? You paid?
No, Cynthia took us to lunch. It was a lovely treat.
Maybe she felt guilty, so she's watching now.
She watches us every week. We went to Tofino's. It's hard to get good Italian food down in South Carolina, but Tofino's it's very nice. I have my favorite sandwich, fried chicken cutlet on Italian bread. It was actually Italian bread.
They probably import the water.
What's that?
They probably import the water.
That's what Italian bread
that are good.
Could be. Well, I don't know what's going on with our numbers count. I hope that everybody can see us on my Facebook page because Facebook sent me a note yesterday. It was a very lovely note to my email address saying that people are complaining that they're not having a nice experience on my Facebook page. And so they were going to cancel my Facebook page. As far as I know, they didn't do it, but I'm pretty sure they slowed it.
Are you sure it wasn't spam? You think it was real? Because
I think it was real because they it went to my email, my business email, and it also referenced George's email. So I do think it was real, and I can see our numbers are, I mean, worse than ever. So I don't know. Let me know if you're seeing us on my.
All four of you. Your mother's not even here. I just think it's because we suck.
Yeah, well, I just made sure that we could see comments from everybody there. But anyway, tonight's show is called "In God We Trust" because, well, I've just been watching the news and I'm I can't get over all these people that are triggered by things that are American or that are symbols of America. And so I thought that it would be fun to play some of those videos. But before we play those videos, I have a Karen video for you, Jen, because I thought you'd love it. Hi, Andrew. Good to see you with us. Thank you. And here's Bobby Dutcher. Very good. So we're missing the OG Lucille, and we're missing Josephine. So hopefully, and Martin, and hopefully,
Let's call her while you say hello to everybody.
What's that?
I'm calling her.
Are you calling the mother? See if she's sleeping. She went out today. So she went out to lunch too. So she may be sleeping. Let's see.
Her phone's busy.
Ah, okay. Well, she must be talking to somebody. Okay.
What a better show.
And maybe she's watching somebody else. Oh, well, anyway. So, Jen, here's one for you. It's got nothing to do with symbolism of America, but it does have to do with Karens, and I thought that you'd enjoy this.
Okay.
All right, watch a Karen.
The Fauci Award for Gullible People.
You have space. Just drive straight. You just need to come straight. That's it.
I'm gonna go get my friend. Yeah, my car for me. I'm being harassed. I'm calling the police station.
All right. Call the police.
Perfect moving. My husband's calling the complaint right now.
Yes. You have space.
I'm not gonna do it.
Get out! Get out! I'm in a cab! I'll get your license plate! I'll get you arrested! Move your fucking car! Down! No, it's not alright! You're holding up the world! You get out! She knows!
No, that's too far. Hey.
I did nothing to deserve it! Do you see that? Do you see what you're doing? Do you see what you're doing?
Wait.
Such an asshole! I'll run you over!
Casey, get in the cab! Mike, back it up, Mike!
Do you see that?
Karen has never match. It's the upgraded one.
I love that because we had two Karens. We had the Karen in the car. My husband's calling to come, and then we had the Karen in the cab who was drunk off her ass. They're holding up the world. Oh my God, I love it. Oh, hello, Ralph. Good to see you. Only in New York. That's right. Only in New York. Well, speaking of drunk, this is Jennifer's contribution to the show. She very rarely sends me videos, but apparently she's obsessed with this one.
Well, I spent my Friday night watching this for 3 hours on Poshmark Live. It was a share show.
So this is what America has come to when you want to get rid of the things that you don't want anymore. Here, we give it to this woman and she's going to sell it for you. Watch.
In reality, it looks so beautiful that you just don't want to sell it. Who feel drunk, yo? Are you feeling drunk? When you get on certificate, that's cost $30 if you buy it. Yeah, girls, Louis Vuitton, Louis Vuitton, Louis Vuitton, authentic, authentic. Come on, girls, come on. Louis Vuitton, you know what I mean? Don't deny the value of Louis Vuitton. Come on, beat it up, 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 beat it up. Ooh. Don't make me mad. Don't make me mad. You're going to make me mad because that is crime as a sin against a Coach designer bag. Do you understand what I mean, girls? Don't offend the designer of the bag. Don't offend the designer. That is a Coach that is committed to the quality. Girls, 36 doors. That is a sin against that bag. Come on, girls. Come on, girls. It is stunning. It's $300 bag. Look at that. Girls.
Somebody got a great deal on that.
Yeah.
And get up, come on, girls! Girls! Don't make me mad!
Oh my God. I can't imagine why people wouldn't be bidding on her stuff.
With other people's stuff, which is even worse. You go into the room and you put 2 items in and there's an auction. Her name was Svetlana, which is funny because that's my alter ego's name.
Right, that's right. That is your alter ego. Oh wow, this is the new world, ladies and gentlemen. The new world. Get drunk on live Poshmark. And demand.
This one, but definitely the most amusing one. The other, she fell at one point, but I didn't have I didn't have storage on my phone. She was on the floor. And the best is her husband's American, and he's the peanut gallery because he has to read for her. And you hear him in the background telling her what everything says.
It looked like she passed out there for a minute. It was funny. Oh, wow. All right. Well, enough of the Karens and the drunken Svetlanas. So here's a clip from a couple years ago from The View, our favorite people here. We like to make fun of The View, ladies, because they're all yappers. That's all they are, is yappers. And this is as they talk about why the American flag is scary. Watch.
New York Times editorial board member Mara Gay is facing a backlash for recounting a recent trip to the suburbs that put things into a scary perspective for her. Take a look.
I was on Long Island this weekend visiting a really dear friend, and I was really disturbed. I saw, dozens and dozens of pickup trucks with, explicatives against Joe Biden on the back of them, Trump flags, and some cases just dozens of American flags, which, is also just disturbing because essentially the message was clear. It was, this is my country. This is not your country. I own this.
I'm so surprised, actually, that she is receiving this kind of backlash. And as Megan mentioned during the last segment, when someone of color, a Black woman, is telling you her feelings, people need to listen and not, repudiate it and not say, well, that can't be true. Because you have, in many respects, the former disgraced, twice impeached, one-term president to thank for politicizing the American flag.
I can't. No, he did it. No, he's the one.
When a Black woman of color speaks, you have to listen. You have to listen. So how are we supposed to listen to Kamala Harris? I mean, come on. Nobody can understand the word she's saying.
Go!
Well, why do we have to listen when a Black woman of color speaks and not Svetlana, for instance? I mean, come on.
Well, you just can't understand Svetlana at all. You can listen all you want. If you're going to comprehend it, 0.
Yeah, I call bullshit on that too, Bobby. It's absolutely ridiculous. Well, they apparently, the American flag triggers them. Well, here's a good one. This is a city council hearing. The city council put up a pride flag outside, and some of the members of the community had something to say about it. So they went to the city council hearing, and a city council member actually fired back. I want you to listen to the council member's response specifically, especially at the end. Here we go.
That flag outside that window and in this very room, the American flag, that's something that unifies us all, and that's why it's up there. The North Dakota flag as well unifies us all as North Dakotans. But the American flag represents the hearts of Americans, and the LGBT flag represents the genitals of certain Americans.
So, Mr. Walker, if you're not aware, and I think a lot of people in this room are not aware and have come here just because this is a gay issue, I am proudly the first openly elected lesbian in North Dakota. So that is why I'm not paying any heed to your crap. We the people, I'm the people. I live in Minot. I have a taxpayer. I am a person. I get to see myself represented on that flagpole just as much as the people who got the Juneteenth flag last month, as much as the POW MIAs will get later this month. Every single person is entitled to see themselves represented. We are not some group of people who live in San Francisco or Seattle. We are here. We are your elected officials. We are your brothers. We are your sisters. And don't tell me you're not hatred and anger. That's all I feel. I've had to listen to it for days now, as is the mayor and many of my colleagues. It is unacceptable. This city is big enough for all of us. Me having a flag flying doesn't take away anything from your rights and freedoms. But you know what it does for me? It shows me I live in a city that appreciates and embraces me and the people of my community, and that I can live here and feel safe. That's what it does. I'm sorry it doesn't make you feel comfortable, but we're here, we're queer, and we're not going away. It doesn't matter who I love. For if you elect me as your city council member, it shouldn't matter. You're electing me because I'm competent and I will represent your viewpoint.
It was a Trump flag. Not allowed to have those up, but you can have any other flag you want because we are people.
Well, I think it's really interesting that she said what she said, because she contradicted herself, in my opinion, right? The first guy, he was right. He said the American flag encompasses everybody. The North Dakotan flag encompasses all the people that live in North Dakota. So that includes if you're gay. That includes if you're black for Juneteenth. That includes if you're a POW MIA. That includes all of it. The POW MIA flag, the reason that exists and the reason that it's flown is because these are men and women who sacrificed or were captured and lived in bondage while they were fighting a war to keep America free and safe. So in protection of the flag. So that's why you fly the POW MIA flag. But later on, she said, it doesn't matter who I love. You're not electing me because I'm gay. You're electing me because I'm competent. Well, if it doesn't matter who you love, and if we're electing people, as I agree, they should be based on what their abilities are, then why are you calling attention to the fact that you're gay? Why is that so necessary anymore? Why do you need a separate flag, and why does it have to, fly it at City Hall? I mean, the American flag we get, right? The North Dakotan flag we get. The POW MIA, again, protection of America, protection of that flag. But all these other flags, why are they up? And why do you need that flag to feel comfortable?
Karen, heterosexual Karen next door to me doesn't have a flag that says I sucked 7 dicks last night. If you did, it'd be funny, but it's not there. Because nobody knows. I mean, I know, but...
Well, I think she contradicted herself, and I think that that people have a right to say when is it going to stop, when all these subgroups, why are we separating each other. And she said she doesn't care if things make him uncomfortable, but she wants him and everybody else in North Dakota to care that she felt uncomfortable without the pride flag. Unless the pride flag was there, she was feeling uncomfortable. So, once again, it's hypocrisy. Doesn't the American flag cover everybody? Yeah, it's really supposed to. Democrats want to make it a felony to burn the gay flag, but it's fine to burn the American flag. And again, Ralph, I'm not going to say that it's just Democrats. I think it's the progressive left and their lunatics and their separation, keeping us separated. Before World War II, the Bellamy salute was patriotic, and public school students hailed the U.S. flag as they pledged allegiance. That's right. ACLU backed Nazis, but not Republicans. Look up ACLU's Skokie. But if you, Letitia, out them, you're the Nazi. Yeah, well, we know this. We've seen it already, Ralph. I mean, the ACLU at one point they actually defended the KKK and their horrible speech and rhetoric, because they said that in America you're allowed to express your feelings, but when it comes to Republican expressing their feelings, or Catholics, or any other subset lately that is being bashed, you're not allowed to express your feelings. Instead, they want to censor us. It's crazy stuff.
Your mother's here.
Ah, there she is. Okay.
We called you.
Yes, I called her too. I guess she was on the telephone. Okay, so now let's talk about money. And God We Trust is on our money. But recently, a group of atheists actually sued and lost to get that statement off money, saying that it violated the separation of church and state. Official way to dispose of flags is to burn them. That's correct. But it has to be burnt the proper way. So anyway, let's listen to this guy. His name, he actually writes for a paper called The Friendly Atheist. Listen to him.
There have been a lot of stories lately in which police chiefs and fire chiefs put the words "In God We Trust" on all of their vehicles. And city council members put the phrase "In God We Trust" up on the wall where they meet. And a lot of atheists have been complaining about it, saying this is an endorsement of religion. Whenever I read articles about this topic, though, there always seems to be one kind of comment that is made that is so bizarre I can't believe people are still saying it. Someone always says, if you don't like that phrase, then stop using money, because "In God We Trust" is written on the back of all of our dollar bills. Here's why that makes no sense. Just because I want the phrase taken off the money doesn't mean I'm going to stop using it. The phrase wasn't even on dollar bills until the 1950s, and I don't recall Christians boycotting money before then. The problem isn't that I, as an atheist, use paper money. The problem is that the government decided it made sense to put the phrase on currency in the first place. I don't like that some people refer to ancient history as like the year 1500 BC, before Christ, but it doesn't mean I'm going to stop reading history books. Charles Darwin is currently on the back of a British 10-pound note. Does that mean Christians don't use it over there? I mean, I've never heard of a church say, "We want your money." "Oh no, we don't want a 10-pound note. No, you can keep that one for yourself." It is just a dumb argument. Now, you may have heard that a group of 41 people, led by atheist Michael Newdow, are currently suing to take that phrase off the money, and they're saying that it violates their religious conscience. Does that sound frivolous? Maybe. But it's the same argument Hobby Lobby used to get out of covering contraception for their employees. And it worked for them. Even if they lose the case, though, atheists are still going to be using paper money. At least until we all transition to credit cards or our phones or any other place where the words "In God We Trust" won't appear somewhere where they don't belong. My name is Hemant Mehta, and I write at friendlyatheist.com.
Is this better?
In the Big Bang Theory.
There's my black hole.
Well,
you know what? If that offends them and gets them triggered. I wonder what a punch in the face would do. How about we just punch them all in the face? That's it.
We don't condone violence on this show. YouTube. We don't condone violence. Okay. Glad I got home in time. Don't like missing the show. Glad to have you, Martin. I'm glad you found us because we're having a little problem here with Facebook and, YouTube. They took down the show. Facebook, YouTube, everywhere but Rumble took down the show from last week, and we found out why. It was my mistake. It was the Will and Grace, the Will and NBC. Yeah, Will and Grace. So no good can come from Will and Grace. So screw Will and Grace.
Yes,
we will never show another clip and erase everything I said about loving Will and Grace. Something from nothing. Yeah, that's about right. Big Bang Theory. And God We Trust doesn't say what God has meant.
But you don't believe in God.
Well, you know what?
Where the hell did the Big Bang Theory come from? Where did the space come from? Where did it all come from? Probably some big fat man sleeping. He's going to wake up and we're all going to die. That's what's going to happen.
We're all part of the dream.
We're going to make him watch this show and he's going to kill himself. And then we're all going to die.
And his argument was wrong about Hobby Lobby. Hobby Lobby is a private entity, and they will not pay. They were paying for health insurance, but for their employees, but they would not cover contraception because that's not their religious belief. So you don't like it, you don't work there. That's the way it goes. You're saying that In God We Trust doesn't belong on money because separation of church and state, wrong. This country was founded on principles, on religious principles. It was founded by a group of people who were escaping religious persecution. So, it's important that we remember the history of this.
I thought Hobby Lobby was a train store for Hobby. I swear to God, I did. Forever.
It's a great craft.
There's a cool place called Hobby Lobby where you go and buy train parts for your trains at home.
It's actually a really cool craft store. Litigation is the point. They anger others by making issue of non-issue. Well, they lost. They lost because at the end of the day, this country was founded by people who were escaping religious persecution. When you say a separation of church and state, it means that there can be no one religion mandated by the government. So you want to choose not to believe in God, you can do that. You want to choose to be a Christian, you could do that. You want to choose to be Jewish, you can do that. You want to be a Muslim, you can do that. You want to be a Buddhist, you can do that. The whole idea is that In God We Trust allows for all religions, and the church and the state cannot dictate a certain religion.
Then we should be the Donald Trump religion.
Well, you could do that. I mean, even Satanists are covered under the Constitution, right? And, even though In God We Trust says that, if
they have a God, yeah.
You can do that in America. We can even pray to there you go. I didn't see your comment. I put it up, but I didn't read it before I said those words. So we were thinking the same. So that's the beauty of America. So to say that you can't mention God in government, that is incorrect. The whole idea is the government can't tell us that this is the religion we have to follow, which was the case with those that were escaping King George. The religion, Protestant was the religion of England, and that's what everybody has.
Just take all his money away and we'll be fine. He won't have anything to complain about.
Thank you, Martin Lee. Martin Lee has a new book coming out this summer, everyone. Martin, put the details in the links, please, so that everybody can buy it.
We trust. No.
What's that? In Martin
Lee? In God We Trust.
Why can liberals preach from the church pulpit but not Republicans? Well, you know what? Listen, we know that right now in this country, we've got persecution of Catholics, of Jews, of women, of Republican conservatives. It is happening all around us. As a matter of fact, we're going to get to that a little later in the show. But okay, Sound of Freedom. Everybody's talking about it, right? Everybody's talking about it. I wanted to play for you a clip from a YouTube therapist, Marty Atkins, and she talks about the sound of freedom. You might have heard that there has been the media has been saying that the sound of freedom is a whole QAnon situation and it is factually untrue and blah, 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 blah. I thought, Jen, that you would get a kick out of this YouTube therapist. Watch.
Okay, hi everybody. Thanks for coming back if you've been here before, or hi, welcome if you're new. My name's Mickey, I'm a therapist, and we talk about therapy things on this channel. And today we are talking about a movie, which is not normally my thing, but there's a movie that was released called The Sound of Freedom that became an interesting intersection of poor mental health advice and like perpetuating myths about mental health and therapy, and also shitty QAnon propaganda. The problem is with the way that the film portrays human trafficking and the myths that it perpetuates about a very real issue that does very much need our attention, just not in the way that these people would have you believe. Okay, so there are a couple articles that I'm going to reference pretty heavily in this video. I will link them in the description for you guys to go look at them. The first one that I want to talk about is a Rolling Stone write-up that has interviews with a couple of industry professionals that like really outline specifically the issues that exist with this movie. The first thing that I want to draw your attention to is the very heavy-handed rhetoric that the movie uses to insinuate or like outright allege that the majority of human trafficking happens to children, particularly very small children. And again, I want to be super clear, this is a thing that happens. It is entirely possible and it is factual that very small children are human trafficked, and it is a thing that we need to be aware of. However, the film opens with a montage, supposedly, and also I want to be clear, I have not seen this movie. I refuse to give this man my money, so I'm not going to watch this movie. Personally, I don't think I need to watch the movie to discuss the issues that are present with it, especially because I've looked at some of the ancillary media and like none of it's good. So full disclosure, but the movie does open with a montage of video of like surveillance footage of children being snatched from parking lots and things like this. And this is an issue that happens a lot when we talk about human trafficking, is that people allege that the vast majority of trafficking victims are small children, first of all, which is not true. There is a statistic in this article that I want to draw your attention to, which is that 67% of the children who are trafficked are between the ages of 15 and 17. So the majority of children who are being trafficked are actually teens and adolescents. They're not very small children like this film would have you believe. And on top of that, human trafficking rarely looks the way that media asserts that it does. This image that we have of small children just being kidnapped in parking lots by complete strangers in broad daylight and then trafficked to another country and sold for all number of horrible things is not the way that human trafficking typically looks. The other thing that I want to draw your attention to that the film pretty overtly neglects to discuss is that a lot of the human trafficking that we are witnessing happening in the United States is actually a reflection of queer kids who have been kicked out of their homes because of their sexual orientation or their gender identity, that then become coerced into sex work or other types of labor that they haven't consented to, that they don't agree to, but that they're, again, like coerced into because they have no other options. This is really important for us to talk about. I'm going to speak more about this later, but it's important that we address the root cause of why folks are being trafficked in the first place. And again, this looks nothing like the movie Taken or like this movie, this attitude that the majority of human trafficking is just random and senseless acts of violence is not only disingenuous and not true and like causing people a great deal of distress, but it's also causing us to neglect the systemic problems that are leading to folks being trafficked in the first place.
Girl, shut up! When your hair matches your wall and all the decor, I'm not listening to you, so stop. Girl!
She's a therapist.
Okay.
And she's talking on this, and she didn't watch the film because she's not going to give that man her money. But I'm going to tell you, I'm an expert on the film, even though I didn't see it. I'm good because I read enough in the media. To be.
If your friend said, "Don't go see that film," why? Was it bad? Oh, I don't know. I didn't see it. Don't go see it. It sucks. That's when you stop being friends with that person.
Oh my God, she's a therapist. So she wants us to know that even though it's possible that young children can be trafficked,
Wrong age group.
Yeah, it's the wrong age group. But it's possible, and it could be factual. And let me tell you something. That was a 39-minute segment that I watched from beginning to end. And you got to watch it because I wanted to punch the screen as much as I wanted to punch the screen when I saw The Sound of Freedom. Oh my gosh. It has nothing to do with QAnon. No kidding. And I'm going to show you why. She is wrong on many issues. Well, here's Joshua says it. She's not citing one authentic source, just a point of, and it's atypical of liberals. Rolling Stone magazine said, so therefore, they know better than anybody.
18-year-old saying, I saw it on TikTok, because that's all he bases his knowledge from.
Oh my gosh. Here's the information on Martin's book. Go to his website, martinjleoliterature.com. It's coming out in August. I read his books. His books are great. You should all read them. Okay, so once again, this is just bull crap, and this is what's happening. First of all, she's a therapist. I don't get it. I mean, really, would you take life advice from this woman? I don't know. I don't know. Number one,
to match the multicolored greeting card that was framed on her wall.
I can't. And we're going to, and it's absolutely true. A lot of kids that are trafficked or a lot of kids that are in prostitution are gay or trans kids, and that is a fact. If they're runaways. A lot of them go into prostitution to be able to live on the streets. A lot of them are being trafficked, but that's not what the Sound of Freedom is talking about. Sound of Freedom is talking about a literal sex ring where they do kidnap children, they do groom them, they do sell them, and it is slavery.
Why do you think people kidnap kids out of supermarket parlance? Because they want to pay for their college and raise them and feed them and listen to their mouths? No, it's an agenda. They're going to make the money. They're breeding them to become prostitutes. Because I'm not going to steal a child. I have one and I don't want another. So.
Oh my God. Well, all right. So
money. They don't make you money unless you're going to traffic them.
So to this therapist, I wish I could send her these clips, but here's the real Tim Ballard. This is 6 years ago. This was an ABC News story. Watch.
Tim Ballard has one mission: to track down child traffickers. 4 months ago, Colombian authorities asked him to investigate a tip that children were being sold there as sex slaves.
Within a half hour, this individual walks up to me, starts asking me what I'm here for, what I want, and within minutes, he says, well, I've got kids as young as 11 years old.
Ballard, a former Homeland Security agent, now heads up Operation Underground Railroad, a nonprofit group that rescues trafficked kids. After that first meeting, the Colombians asked him to put together a sting.
No men will be in here, only women.
Operation Underground Railroad spent months planning, renting this house, rigging it with hidden cameras to document the crime, coordinating with Colombian authorities, and negotiating with the traffickers.
How they find these kids is they lure them in by pretending to have a modeling agency. They target them at 9 or 10 years old. And they were telling us that about by 11, they're ready for sex. They're ready to be sold.
What is that like, looking into that kind of person's eyes?
It's horrifying, and this is why. Because I've got a smile in the face of evil. This is the table where we're going to do the negotiation.
Less than 24 hours after the operatives landed, the suspected traffickers arrived on the island, and the final deal with the undercover team began. 54 boys and girls aged 11 to 18 were ushered in for what had been billed as a sex party. They were given candy and drinks and told to wait in this small room.
This little 11-year-old boy, I remember, he asked one of my operatives if they could give him some cocaine or something. He said, they usually give me something because I'm really scared.
By the time the deal was done, the alleged traffickers were set to make $25,000. That transaction was never completed. 25 Colombian special operatives stormed the party. arresting 5 suspects, 4 men and 1 former beauty queen, all charged with child trafficking. The victims, 29 of whom are under 18, were evacuated, given medical exams, and placed in a rehabilitation center where specialists are working to undo the damage.
Right before I got in the boat, we had to walk by this room where the kids were, and they put their hand up. And I touched their hand and see that there's liberation now.
Liberating one child at a time. Elaine Quijano, CBS News, New York.
What's amazing is if that therapist just Googled.
Oh, I could find her. You know that I'm sending her this, so send it. Yeah, to you later.
She's
totally free.
Giving advice.
I would love to literally make an appointment with her. I will fly to wherever she is. Can you imagine? And have a session with her.
Yeah, this is true. I mean, child trafficking has been going on forever. Children were chattel. I mean, it's only now. It's only now that we're seeing it. I mean,
people are sick. Back then, prostitution was the oldest career, job ever.
Still is the oldest.
Still is, but people then get sick. They want kids, and they get paid way more money for children than they would for an adult having sex with them.
And America is the #1 consumer.
Not Thailand?
What's that?
I would think it was Thailand.
No. America is the #1 consumer of child pornography, of child sex with children. America. It's $150 billion a year industry. And so there was the real story, and that crazy therapist is all she had to do was Google it instead of making a snap decision because of Rolling Stone magazine. She could have seen the actual ABC News footage of Tim Ballard.
Probably told her that information.
And that was 8 years. That was what the film was made from, was that story. And this was 6 years ago. And of all people, Ashton Kutcher, the actor, happens to be an expert on child sex trafficking, not because he engages in it, but because he saves children. Watch this. This is him testifying before Congress.
So I'd like to talk about my day job. My day job is as the chairman and the co-founder of Thorn. We build software to fight human trafficking and the sexual exploitation of children. I've been on FBI raids where I've seen things that no person should ever see. I've seen video content of a child that's the same age as mine being raped by an American man that was a sex tourist in Cambodia. And this child was so conditioned by her environment that she thought she was engaging in play. I've been on the other end of a phone call from my team asking for my help because we had received a call from the Department of Homeland Security telling us that a 7-year-old girl was being sexually abused, and that content was being spread around the dark web. And she had been being abused, and they'd watched her for 3 years, and they could not find the perpetrator. Asking us for help. We were the last line of defense. An actor and his foundation were the potential last line of defense, the pipeline. We sit at the intersection of discovery of these victims, but the pipeline in and the pipeline out are just as vital and just as important, and addressing them are just as important. I'd like to highlight one thing in particular, that being the foster care system. Foster care children are 4 times more likely to be exposed to sexual abuse. That's a breeding ground for trafficking. The outbound pipeline. There's just not enough beds. The bottom line is, once someone is exposed to this level of abuse, it's a mental health issue. And there aren't enough beds, there's not enough support, and we have to have the resources on the other side. Otherwise, the recidivism rates are through the roof. My fourth and final recommendation is the bifurcation of sex trafficking and labor trafficking. They're both aberrations. They're both awful. They're both slavery, and they're both punitive, in fact. But the solution sets are highly differentiated. When you look at sex trafficking, a victim is most often present at the incident of commerce. And this provides an opportunity for drastic intervention. Whereas in labor trafficking, the victims are being hidden behind the manufacturers and the merchandisers. And it requires an entirely different set of legislation and proactivity and enforcement in order to shut it down. Now, it's not lost on me that all of this disruption in our marketplaces is going to have economic backlash. Like, that is not lost on me at all. But I ask you, do you believe that Abraham Lincoln had to consider the economic backlash of shutting down the cotton fields in the South when he shut down slavery? Because I'm sure that weighed on his mind.
No, he's amazing. But I want you to rewind that and tell me what that woman was grinning and smirking about right behind him.
She was supporting him. Yeah, it is stunning, Bobby. Yeah, the Philippines, absolutely. It is sick. You know, you get your nails done, and Chinese, Korean women, labor trafficking. There's labor trafficking. All these American corporations that are now in other countries, well, they're using basically menial labor, slaves. They're using slaves. India, that slavery exists. It has existed. It continues to exist. It's not just the the slave trade of the Africans back in the 16 and 1500s and 1700s and up to 1800 here in America. It has always existed. The Jews were slaves to the Egyptians. Irish were slaves. The Italians were slaves to St. Patrick was a slave. St. Patrick was a slave, and he was from Italy, moved to Ireland. So slavery has existed, continues to exist, and so that crazy therapist needs to do a little exploration and figure it out. And these liberal left progressive kids that think, yeah, serfdom, absolutely. These liberal left progressive kids that think that slavery ended with the Civil War here in America and somehow think that the government was involved in the slave trade, which it was not. It was always private. It still exists today. And so they should stop talking about a country that actually eradicated slavery, and they should start looking at places like the Philippines and Cambodia and Colombia and Korea and China, where slavery is still very much in existence today. If we all started talking about it, then we'd get somewhere with it. Illegals are serfs. The Mexicans that come with the coyotes, they pay $10,000 to come over, but they don't have $10,000. So they bring them over and they make them work off their debt. So it's indebted servitude. It is still happening.
Trafficking at the border.
Yeah, well, exactly. It's happening right now, and Biden and his administration is letting it all happen. All were slaves, regardless of their nation or ethnicity. Absolutely. Barbary Coast pirates. Absolutely. All right. So I don't know if you heard that Jason Aldean, country singer, has a song out called "Not in a Small Town," and the song is about criminals. And he's saying that in a small town you wouldn't get away with the stuff that was happening in the large cities, with all the crime and all the looting and all that stuff that was going on. So
They'd break your kneecaps.
Well, The View and others are calling him a racist. So I found, I love this guy. You should all follow his channel. Officer Tatum is his name. Officer Tatum actually did a bit. It's much longer than what I'm going to show you now. But with the white people calling it racism, and he shows what black people have to say about Jason Aldean. Watch.
This video it's funny and ironic that Nick was telling me over here. He said, it's funny that the only people that got a problem with Jason Aldean's song is white people. The black people that I see online don't have a problem with Jason Aldean's song. And it's the point, it's the point I be trying to make. White guilt is a real thing. They get real. The white savior complex is a real thing. White people are probably not generally outraged by it, but they want to be outraged on behalf of black people. Yeah, black people don't give a flying flip about this song, and the ones who listen to the song don't think it's racist.
I ain't got no problem with the song. Everybody want to talk about it's racist, it's this, he talking about lynching. I'm talking about Jason Aldean's video, the one they want to pull. I ain't got no problem with the motherfucker.
On the surface, they say that it's because it's dog whistling to racism. But you and I know that the liberals will stretch like Mr. Fantastic to attach anything to racism. And if you listen to the lyrics of the song, it doesn't allude to anything racist at all.
Whenever you trigger liberals, it is a great day in America. They're mad even though their rap music's lyrics is all about taking each other's lives, giving each other drugs, smack that hoe, whoop that trick, come get this wop. Yeah, sure, there's crime in small towns. The difference is how it's handled and not tolerated. It's called being civilized.
And you try some crazy stuff in a small town, yeah, for lack of a better word, you probably gonna get dealt with. That goes for any skin color, because the South is protective over its own. So, man, can we please stop the fake outrage? It's a lot of things that we could be mad about. This ain't one of them.
So, guys, since everyone's been calling that new Jason Aldean song racist, I decided to do some investigating of my own, and I listened to the song, and the entire song is actually about criminals. Are these people assuming he's talking about black people? And if they're assuming he's talking about black people, when the entire song is about criminals, doesn't that make them the racist?
I don't think it's not racist. No. It's not racist. Oh, God! It's not racist. No, been on my back. I love that guy.
I love him. Officer Tatum. Absolutely. Everybody should go to his channel and tell him that Right Stuff sent you.
Do you think they're going to stop and go follow him somewhere else?
Well, I think that they should follow him too. Democrats act in their historical as slave masters, hence what we see today.
What's his name on TikTok?
What's that?
What's his name on TikTok?
Officer Tatum, Tatum. He's a police officer, and now he has this show, and I just love him. He just tells it as it is. Yeah, and in the video, it's a much longer video. He has all these white people talking about how racist the song is. It's hysterical. Liberals call us racist when we win an argument. Absolutely. I love the guy that said any day that you could trigger a liberal is a good day for America. All right, and this is PragerU, Almala, talking about racism. Watch.
Today we're going to react to a mega viral video by Charlie Chan. This got 3.8 million views, titled "What Are We Doing to White People?" You guys have been requesting that I react to this. I have not seen it yet, so this is going to be a completely just blind reaction to what he says in this video. Let's hear it.
There's been something going on for a while now that we're being told not to notice. More to the point, that we're asking white people not only to ignore, but to accept. The rising tide of racial hatred against white people. In the past decade, there has been a noticeable cultural shift in what constitutes acceptable speech as it relates to white people. Back when I was a kid, in the early 2000s, the mainstream American culture preached about respecting each other's differences and not seeing color. Nowadays, we say that not seeing color is racism, that you must see color. But the more I see how things are unfolding, the more I'm convinced that this is wrong. Back then, saying something offhanded about white people were seen as not appropriate, just as it would be to say something offhanded about people of any other race. But that soon gave way to our current times, in which there exists virtually no limit to what racial minorities can and do say about white people.
This is a realization that I went through a while back too, and you guys know this from my story of realizing, oh, maybe leftism and wokeism is not for me, that you really can say or do anything to a white person without repercussion, and they have certainly fallen below on the hierarchy as far as being concerned about racial hatred or bigotry. You can direct all of your racial hatred and bigotry towards white people, and virtually nothing will be done about it. And he talks about this idea of race neutrality versus seeing race all the time. The colorblind future is, I think, what we should be moving towards, because your race says nothing about you. It says nothing about how good of a person you are, how bad of a person you are, your morals, your values, anything. It says nothing about you as a person. Yet we are now pushing this idea that we have to talk about race and that it must constantly be a part of our conversations. And I just reject that. I think neutrality is going to be the future, where we say race has nothing to do with who you are or what you are, and we can look beyond that.
Bathing suits at Target. Anything's possible, girl.
Well, right, they're trying to divide us by race, they're sexual orientation.
Understand that the people that are doing it are never seen because they're so fucking nuts and boring and crazy. And this is what they do. They find a little cult, like people that want to sue against the dollar, saying "In God We Trust," and they get friends and they have a lawsuit, and then a year later they have no friends anyway again. So this is, you know, they just need to be heard and seen. That's it.
They do it for clicks, and I am so happy. I mean, I have to tell you, I am so happy to see so many people of color standing up and saying that it's, you know, that what the liberal left is doing.
They create racism again.
Yeah. I have to hear the Jason Aldean song and see the video. I know all about Officer Tatum. Yeah, I mean, it's all about small town. And it's about we're not going to take these criminals, and all of the criminals, everything that's in there, most of it is all white people committing the crime. So very interesting. In the hereafter, we are identical. Agreed. I think we're identical. Listen, I don't think we're identical now, but I think as human beings, our makeup is identical, right? We're human beings. We all belong to the human race. We need to start there. Yeah, our skin is different. Yeah, our language is different, but so what? I mean, it's, you know, that's who we are. But we don't have to identify people. You know, I mean, even if you're talking about every white person or every black person or every Asian person, there are differences in their looks and their
they're assholes. It doesn't matter what race you are.
Right. Assholes will always be assholes.
History repeats itself all the time. And in the 60s, when we were at war, we had the same group of people fighting against the war. They were wearing no clothes. They were on drugs, peace and love. They're doing the same thing, but they have a platform of social media. So where it's in our faces, they have, you know, they realize that there's more than just a group on the White House lawn protesting. They're all over the world, and they found each other through social media. So now it's down our throats, and they're creating a problem.
Well, thankfully it looks like it's backfiring, because the young people aren't taking the momos and the sheep will always be momos and sheep. They always were, they always will. But to see the number of young people that are saying, hey, wait a minute. You know, my whole life I was taught not to judge people on the color of their skin or their sexual orientation. And now you're telling me I have to. Absolutely not. So I'm happy to see that. And this is for Kim Salvo. I'm so glad you're with us, Kim. I'm glad you guys are early.
There's a movie that everybody should watch. You're going to have to go on YouTube to find it. It's called White Man's Burden.
Yeah,
with John Travolta.
Yeah.
You have to watch it.
Yeah, that was a crazy movie. Jen, you nailed it. Like minds gravitate towards one another. It's true. Human soul. That's right. This is why they hide history so it can repeat itself. You know, I think, again, my biggest problem is that all of this propaganda is being sown to divide us, because it's easier to control us if we're divided. And if we feel hopeless, it's easier to turn to the government to solve all our problems. So, all right, our last clip has zero to do with anything other than I had to show it. Because this was 2016 GOP debate between Donald Trump and Jeb Bush. And I forgot about this, but it was recently called to my attention. And once again, everything Donald Trump said was true. Watch.
Trump, take 30 seconds. Let me just, he wants to be a tough guy. A lot of times you'll have, and it doesn't work very well with
How tough is it to take property from an elderly woman?
Let me talk. Quiet. A lot of times, that's all of his donors and special interests out there. So that's what it is. That's what. And by the way, let me just tell you, we needed tickets. You can't get them. You know who has the tickets for the? I'm talking about to the television audience. Donors, special interests, the people that are putting up the money. So it is. The RNC told us we have all donors in the audience, and the reason they're not loving me, the reason they're not loving me is I don't want their money. I'm going to do the right thing for the American public. I don't want their money. I don't need their money. And I'm the only one up here that can say that.
And he proved it to be so. And that's why they're.
He didn't take a paycheck.
Yeah.
He gave it back to the parks. Each park gets his paycheck every month.
That's it. All about control, indeed. My own life experience, as it often tells me, folks are damn good and damn evil, and race makes no difference. That, you know what, Martin, that was a great comment to end on. It's the truth, you know. So you have to choose: are you going to be a good person, or are you going to be an evil person? And you know, people say that our show is full of hate. I beg to disagree. We poke fun at people, but you know,
we poke fun of ourselves.
Poke fun at ourselves. But, you know, that's called comedy. At the end of the day, we're accepting of everyone. The only thing that we're not accepting of is people that say that their rights are more important than your rights and our rights.
And men and babies. I don't accept that.
And babies and puppies. Okay. Jen, anything else?
No, I'm good. Go alter my Svetlana tape now.
Okay. Keep it real. That's right. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. I'm sorry if it's hard to find us. I will figure out a secret bullet here for Facebook. They just hate us. But we're going to keep going until we break them.
Literally one of you.
They're never going to break us. Okay, everybody, buy Martin Lee's book. Go to his website and make sure that you order it. It is, you know, it's going to be something that you're going to be happy to read. You know, he's a really, really good writer and easy reading. So until next week, everybody, you have a great week. Jen, see you next Tuesday.
Bye.
Bye.